So welcome to LSMS. This is one of the classrooms that we do. This is a whitelisted job, so you are expected to uphold to a higher standard within the community, included in which are Twitch TV's guidelines and rules. So make sure you take the time to review them, make sure you look over them. We hold a very high standard here. As it is a whitelisted job, you are expected to do 1 shift per 2 weeks, except in exceptional circumstances. Activity is recorded by LSMS command. We do go over it, and we will also send out the inactivity letters if you are seen to be inactive during this time. Just a quick thing, Suicide RP is banned on the server. You may see a higher number of this because you are regarded as being a medical staff, and that's where it gets drawn to. You have a right to walk away from this roleplay, however, without it being considered fail RP. You do /report and immediately follow up on the website. If you are streaming, you immediately go to BRB and mute to avoid your own channel bans within Twitch. On my screen, I am about to share a video of how to report somebody on the website. We would hope that it doesn't take place very, very often. But unfortunately, we do see it once every couple of months. Now, for some people, that may be a genuine cry for help, and this is where the admins get involved. For some people, it's a story mechanic. However, it is completely banned on Twitch, so we have banned it here on Twitch RP. So, to do a report, you would do first in game, do /report, and then the reason. It can be as simple as saying suicide RP, it can be simple as fail RP. When you go onto the website, you'll be met with a page that looks like this. So you'll be met with the Twitch RP webpage. In the top right corner of the Twitch RP are 3 lines that tell you, and if you click on that, you'll be presented with a subforum that looks like this. You'll have all the different categories, which you would have had to go through in order to apply for the server anyway. At the bottom, there's the bit called support. You need to click on the support reports and contact form. You'll be then presented with a page that looks very similar to this. I've hidden some of it just so that I keep people's information private. There'll be an option on that page. You'll be required to log in through your Steam, and there'll be an option to click on plus new ticket. Once you click on that, you'll be presented with this ticket forum where it'll automatically insert your name. You'll need to put a short description, so just put fail RP, suicide RP, MVL. It'll automatically put your email in there. Your username, you'll need to put your full username in there. This is so the admins can contact you if they have any questions that they want to do. So I've had a few reports where I've been asked to show video evidence or explain myself a bit further. Your Steam ID, which you can find on the Steam ID Finder. And then you'll be required to put it into a category. If it's a in-game report, it would be GTA report. If it's an issue with Discord, with people on Discord, it's an issue with Discord. Developer application, if you want to be a developer. The seasonal arc report, that's for the seasonal games and the arc. You'll then be expect to include a description of what's happened. If you've got any video links, put that in. If you've got any images, put that in. It really helps. If you've got a stream or a long video, setting the timings to when you've got the when it happens also really, really helps them. Yes. So it will grab all the people that is around you at the time. It will grab your name, the people around you, and what's happened. So that if there's an in-game admin, it'll call them. They'll immediately be aware, and if they're not in roleplay, they should be able to. Will be able to come to your situation immediately and have a look what's going on. But it also means that they also have a timestamp when they can look in the logs for what's going on. So once you put the report in, they can look through the logs and go, actually, there was a /me like this, or these were the people around. From there, you would be required to do that. I'm not the robot, and submit the ticket. Just keep an eye on it. If they need anything and they don't hear back from you in 72 hours, they close the ticket just because they have so many tickets going on. If you are streaming, then what we also it's reported to go to the BRB and mute your stream. But what I've also done as an extra step is I've stopped my stream and I've had to delete the VOD. In order to avoid a channel ban. Because that is what happens, I'm afraid. Underneath is important documents. So you've got HIPAA, which you'll be required to take before your first session, before your first training session. It's a multiple choice questions. If you don't pass it, that's okay. We'll go through it at some point. It's not a pass and we kick you out, or a fail and kick you out. Sorry, it's a fail and we'll just take you through and we'll give you a bit more confidence, and then we'll go through it. It's there so that we know that you're acknowledging the parts within the HIPAA. There's an LSMS disciplinary guide, which if you click on the link will lead you to our disciplinary guide. We have a 3-tier approach. Verbal, then written warning, 48-hour suspension, termination. At different ranks, different people can do things. So staff, in the EMS route, that is paramedics and senior paramedics, can give verbal discipline and correction. Your senior paramedics are all trainers. Your paramedics are they've come out of EMT. For your PHS, that's your doctors and your nurses, when they finish training. And from there, you've got, in the EMS, you've got your deputy chiefs and your senior doctors or your senior therapists. They can do 48-hour suspension, sending off duty, verbal discipline and correction, and written discipline. Command, so that's our assistant directors, our directors, and our chiefs. Can call tribunal, termination, up to 2 weeks suspension, mandatory counselling, sending off duty, written discipline, verbal discipline, correction. This is all IC, may I add. This is all in character. It's not meant to be taken out of character. The only person who can give a written verbal, this is termination, is the director. If we are going to terminate someone, the exception to this is inactivity. If we are going to terminate somebody for an in-character action, then we have to go and get permission from the director, who is currently Craig. And you maybe get offered a tribunal where you can argue your case with a lawyer present. But if you are terminated, you leave with the same caveat as any other private citizen, and you will be treated with the same respect. There's a how-to medical guide roleplay, which is for the community, which goes through how to roleplay out some of their scenarios. There is a medical knowledge cheat sheet which goes through different medications, psychiatric medications, phrases, procedures, complications, equipment, lingo. That's really for PHS and getting involved in that. We are a neutral party, which does not mean that you can't make friends. However, in the event of a situation, you are expected to represent the state first. If you witness a crime whilst on duty, you are expected to report it. My advice, however, is that when you are reporting it, you get out of sight of the way of the criminals. In order to best protect yourself and others around you. MDT. To access the MDT in-game, you simply type /MDT, which I will demonstrate here. So there's a emote called /EMDT, which I'm just typing in there. I bring that up. And then I can do T again and /MDT, which brings up the MDT. If you are entering a records or an ICE contact, you will be expected to click on put their first name, put their last name. If you're if you know the people really, really well, and you've got their phone number, enter their phone number, as everyone has a unique phone number. Once you've searched for the person, you will then press issue record. And you'll put in a MDT entry, which can be found on the Discord under MDT. This one's slightly out of date, but there's an MDT entry which consists of a brought in by, so you'd put either EMS, walk-in, PD. Are they a 95? Yes or no. ICU, did they go there? Yes, no. You can start typing this up whilst they're in the room. This is only if you've got pillbox doctors. You don't have to press submit. If you press escape around it, you'll pause what you're writing. And you can continue that role-playing game and then update the MDT at the end of that treatment. But you've got injuries. So your injuries, type out what you've seen got on scene, what you did on scene as an EMS. Treatment, if you're an EMS, you simply put treated. You can put simply as treated by pillbox doctors, or if you have cross-trained into PHS, then you would write out what you did in treatment. At the end of that is also where they ended up after treatment, so they ended up in recovery or whether they ended up in ICU. And then you would press submit and it would submit it to their record. And I've just... No, carry on. Yes, that's absolutely fine. I've just given an example of an ICE contact on my character. So we'd always put, so as part of the ICE contacts, you have 3 personal ones, and then you can have 3 professional ones. So it's always recommended that you get them from your line of command. So getting some of the deputy chiefs if you're an EMS, senior doctors. It has to be senior staff and above. So that we know if something happens to your character in game. We then, when we come around to the activity, we know that actually, yeah, this person hasn't been inactive. They've been in ICU. Instead, so we aren't going to then kick you out for inactivity. Another mechanic we have is called the G or F3 menu, which I demonstrate here. So if you press G, you'll then be presented with the top LSMS symbol, and you'll be given this. If you press F3, you'll go straight to this. The revive is what you do to pick people up. So if you've got a med kit and they've gone fully down, you use a revive on them. We'll teach you in game how to do that professionally, like when it's appropriate to do that. Treat is when you're using a bandage and you're taking them from a certain percentage of health to full health. You can put them in a vehicle. You can drag them out of the vehicle. It's recommended when you drag them out, you stand next to the wheelway the back wheel, one of the back wheels of the ambulance, because then you could drag them out from there. Carry, I'll explain that in a moment. And then there's check injuries, which is gives you a box which some people type in quite extensive injuries. Sorry, no, I'm here still. No, it's absolutely fine. Carry. Carry is a function that we have, which is recommended you do it in water, because once you carry somebody, you are literally, and it's also known as drag, you have no control. The person that you're carrying or dragging has no control over their own body. There is nothing they can do. It's a very powerful tool, and it's recommended that you use it only for swimming. Some people use it when people are unconscious, but you need to get their express permission first. The best way to use the Y button and pick people up, because if they're then conscious or they want to wiggle out of that hold, they have the option to do that. There can be consequences against abusing the drag button. I've gone through the ice contacts, but SCSP, LSSD, and DOJ also can have an additional 3, which have to be from their chain of command. 811. Everyone should be answering these lines. If it pertains to an EMS call, tell the person to text the EMS line or send a text to the 811 line for EMS. Everyone needs to pick those up, because it's not just an EMS line, it's the actual hospital line. An EMS may be under a lot of strain at that moment, and you can inform the person of that. Permadeath procedures, so you would type this out as if you were doing, if you've got someone who's died, you need to send them the permadeath form link, which is here. So you'll need to find their name in the F2 or do a search in the Discord. They should have their names there. We need to send that form because we need to authorize that they are actually permaing. So you'd fill out a normal MDT, but at the end of the thing, we would do a time of death, which can only be called by doctors in the hospital. The medical examiner is the only one who can call in the field or hospital. So the only person who can call in the field is a medical examiner. Notifications. In the terms of death, police are notified first. This is mandatory. We then inform ICE contacts. But if SESP or the police have told us to delay that notification, we follow their advice because there may be roleplay going on there. You need to screenshot the entire patient's records, or at least the last couple of MDTs at least, so that the police have that. If you are doing a death, there in the Discord, there is a death certifications with a picture of right at the top, there's a certification Google Drive. So you're expected to fill that in with like the date and the place and your name. But that's only if the doctor's not available. So that is located in, you may not have access to it yet. Let me update your, I give you this and these tags. It's located in services. Yes. There's also another one called the incoming DOA, which once you've given them the form link, underneath there is a pinned messages. There's a format for death. You need to copy and paste that in. So you'll need to fill in their character name. You'll need to fill in their Discord name, their cause of death, the trooper, whether they were an organ donor or not, and whether ICE were contacted. It's just a checklist and it's there for the medical examiners. That will be explained a bit more we can explain that a bit more in game when a DOA actually happens, which is the best way to experience how that procedure is handled. It's part of your training that we'll go over. So it's free role play. People come up to you seeking medical attention. So it is whatever you make of it. But if you as an EMS just go from running from call to call to call, from helping people, from like wrapping them up, treating them, just going full throttle and not really engaging with the role play, you may burn yourself out, or you're going to feel less like a player and more like a background mechanic, which is not how we want this to go. Draw out your scenes, invite them in, use your medical knowledge that you previously had to really entice people in. Out on the field, we offer for people to come back to Pillbox. We don't force them to come. We always give them the choice. But don't just abandon a scene because another call has popped up. Finish your role play and then move on. Call and text your ICE contacts so that we are continuing that role play in game for the different characters. Treating people, you aren't allowed to treat people in the lobby. We have to take them back to the recovery rooms. There's one in Sandy, there's one in Polito, there's one in Pillbox. Bring them back there, really draw it out, have a conversation with them. It's all vocal RP, so the use of stash me's is, whilst you can use them to help support your roleplay, always use your vocal RP because it makes it more interesting for the player, it makes it more interesting for streamers, and you can use your words to showcase how much you've learned and what is the best of what you can show and what the best of LSMS is. Patient handoffs. Doctors and nurses should be greeting the patient and EMS at the door. 10-7. If you need to go 10-7, go into a break room. Go find somewhere to hide if you're out on patrol. Don't go AFK in the lobby. It's not very good roleplay. It's not very good viewing for people coming in who want to engage with that roleplay. But then they're just met with a stone wall. Or there's nobody there to engage with them because you've gone AFK. So don't go AFK in the lobby. If you're having voice problems, go back into the other room, sort them out, then come back out. There's a professionalism. There are chairs in the hospital in the lobby, so don't sit or lie on the floor. If you need to flop for dramatic effect, that's absolutely fine. Just don't lie there. It's not seen as very professional. You wouldn't see it if you were going into another hospital. Greet people as they come through the door. Make it really pleasant for them. Make it a pleasant experience as they're coming in, because that's how they're going to come back. That's how they're going to treat. The way you greet them is going to start off either a really nice relationship, or you're just going to turn them off, or you're going to find that you're not going to have a very good relation with it, and your time with them is going to become a struggle. If you're having a bad day, IRL, don't go on duty. It does show into your roleplay. You can go on the server, that's absolutely fine, but it does show into your roleplay if you're having a bad day, because you do change the way that you act, the way that you speak. Do not hang out in the lobby off duty. We're relaxing that rule slightly. You can hang off around for a couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes, but then moving along. We're moving civilians along. We need to make sure that we're not there without purpose. Which leads into the next point, which is loitering. Just to have evaluate how busy is it? Is it really appropriate to speak to the people at the moment because they're so overwhelmed with calls? Am I going to cause problems if I'm standing in the middle of the lobby and people are trying to get past? Or we're trying to show that we can have this professionalism. People have a habit of loitering in there. Depending on how busy it is, it will allow it, but just get them to vacate once a reasonable time has passed. So like we said, 5-10 minutes. However, they continue to loiter, contact PD, tell them again, and if there's any more problems, PD will be the ones handing out the fines and getting them to move. If there's no personnel on duty, and if you're the only one and you get tired or you need to go away, don't worry about it. Tell PD. They can handle the situation. Your mental health, your real life comes first. In the Discord, there is a role called On Call, which if there's an FTO on call in game, they'll do that. But there's one called On Call. So if you're on your character or you can hop on, then you can then click on it, and whenever somebody needs extra help, they'll do the on call, and people will be at the role, and people who are ready to do that will then be able to hop in game and support. Disruptive citizen clause. If people are causing certain mischiefs, being idiots or harassing Pillbot staff, do not attempt them to leave other than verbally. If they are escalating the situation, notify PD, and if a gun fight breaks out, which we've had quite frequently, make sure you are safe first. If PD tell you to go behind locked doors, if senior staff tell you to go behind locked doors, if command tell you, you listen to them and you go behind a locked door, you go out of the lobby. And we normally don't do this lightly. We normally try and avoid that. However, if something happens along those lines, get yourself out of the eye line, out of sight. Then focus on your patient. You can't save a patient if you're lying dead on the floor. If you need to notify PD, get yourself out of sight and then notify them. Don't do it in front of the people waving the guns. Any questions? Okay, so in the classroom, there is 2 other videos. One called the radio guide for the LSMS Trello. Another one called the radio guide for EMS and PHS. I suggest looking at those before you clock on duty first. It will tell you how to use the radio. It will tell you how to use the Trello. which I will put a link to the Trello in the Discord when I find where the Trello is. I don't know if you'll be able to use this, but I will get a link to you. Can you join that one? Yes, I will try and find a link for you then. No, it should just be a link. I believe it is this one. Which is the same link, but we will see if that works. If not, I will get a link to you, I promise. Okay, I'll get a link to you.